All right, folks, let's talk about why this moment is one of the most important moments in the debate, as well as its implications.
Otherwise, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch?
Okay, so let's start off with some data from Emerson College Polling. They are one of the more reputable polling institutions in the United States. And as you can see here on the screen, as relates to the swing states, Kamala Harris is a little bit behind in Arizona, so there is some ground to be made up for there. She's pulled ahead in Georgia, Michigan, as well as Nevada, a little bit behind in North Carolina by 1 percentage point. She's tied in Pennsylvania, where this particular debate took place, and behind in Wisconsin by 1 percentage point as well. Now, an important area to pay attention to as it relates to the Emerson College polling is this gray area. This is where undecided and independent voters are located. And Emerson College data does reveal that Kamala Harris is resonating with those independent voters. You'll recall earlier on in the cycle, Trump was had resonance with those independent voters. But now there is a type of recognition among independent voters of the viability of Kamala Harris as the president of the United States. So let's take a look at these Pennsylvania numbers and why her zeroing in on those who are Polish voters in Pennsylvania is important. Well, reports have come out that Poland is looking at boosting its own intelligence in the region, as well as undertaking its own counter efforts in what is taking place between Russia as well as Ukraine because of the potential threat that Russia poses to Poland. So the Polish government is saying, hey, we need to brace ourselves. Now, why is this important? Because Poland is a member of NATO and has been a member of NATO since 1999. And as we all know, NATO is you mess with one, you mess with all. So one of the things that Kamala Harris is saying here is, hey, that world war that Trump was talking about, by not being willing to say that Ukraine has to win this war outright, he is placing Poland at risk, i.e., your friends and family members, which further undergirds her point of that he does not care about you, right? Which will obviously appeal to those 800,000 persons that are within that demographic that Kamala Harris is endeavoring to reach. Now, what is the backdrop behind this, and why does she have the upper hand in this moment, and why could Trump not respond to that substantively? Well, we have to look at Alfa Bank. And some of you all who are familiar with my TikToks, I've covered Alfa Bank before, but remember, Alfa Bank is the largest private bank in Russia. And what you will remember is that Alfa Bank comes up because of special counsel Mueller's investigation into the Trump organization's relationships in Russia, and Alfa Bank floats to the top. Who also has their investigation going is the Senate Intelligence Committee. And part of what the Senate Intelligence Committee finds is that, quote, they could not positively determine an intent or purpose that would explain the unusual activity taking place between the Trump organization and Alfa Bank. They also went on, the Senate Intelligence Committee also went on to further detail that explanations offered by Alfa Bank and the Trump organization as to their relationship, that they were not consistent, meaning that when they were asked, hey, why are y'all communicating with one another? They offered two different reasons. And the person who would have the inside track and in-depth knowledge of that situation would be who? Kamala Harris. Why? Because she served on the Senate Intelligence Committee at that point in time and was aware of that report. That is why she could say to him that Putin would eat you for lunch. And she's also signifying upon something else at the same time. As you will recall, there is this type of budding relationship that is happening between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Remember this 2 hour and 30-minute interview that is done on X. Well, there are a little bit of problems here. Elon is under scrutiny here as of late because a Russian military official did go online and thank Elon for sending a Cybertruck to Russia, which they re-outfitted for their military needs. Now, on his end, Elon has denied this. Nonetheless, this has opened up some very close scrutiny. Why? Because this violates U.S. sanctions. It would place him in some very hot water. This may also explain why Elon Musk is firmly against Kamala Harris, because should she win that presidency, this could mean some things for him, because not only is she aware of what the Trump organization was doing via Donald Trump, obviously, in Alpha Bank, she is probably aware of other things that may also be taking place. So this is why we probably see tweets from Elon claiming that, Kamala Harris is further left than Biden. He's also said that Kamala Harris is communist. Obviously not true. And he's also stated that Kamala Harris' presidency would be a disaster. And he stated that, hey, should Kamala Harris become president, we're not going to Mars. I didn't even know that that was a national agenda, but sure, whatever. The whole point being here is that both of these men know that should Kamala Harris become president, there might be some indictments that's going to be handed down here. Because if the United States has sanctions against Russia, there is no way in which the Trump organization or Elon Musk should be communicating, sending funds back and forth, providing vehicles for equipment, etc. Right? So there are some very real reasons why these two in particular are trying to fan the flames of the base. Ultimately, if you ask me, via my own analysis, it's because it is self-serving. So this is something to be aware of, and I think this was a very smart play that was made by Kamala Harris. Not only saying to those who are Polish in Pennsylvania that hey, basically, Donald Trump does not care about, you, your family, your friends. He's potentially placing you at risk and within the crosshairs of Russia. But she's also able to say and signal to them without saying it that I am prepared to be a commander in chief, and that should I win, you will be held responsible. It would not surprise me if there's some sealed indictments somewhere. I'm just saying. Could there be something here? This is something to think about. This is a very important moment of the debate that deserves a little bit more analysis and a little bit more insight, all right? And if you want to check out the TikTok that I did on Alpha Bank, this is what it looks like here. So feel free to check that out in your own time. But we'll keep track of this, all right? I'll see you all next time. Peace.